it's me again, and if I look familiar, if I look like I have the same outfit on as I did in the previous video that you saw a while back, it's because for me, it's the same day. I'm still on vacation, and I thought, you know what a great time to knock out a bunch of content that I love to show you guys. And one of my favorite things that I like to do is share recipes, especially fall recipes. So earlier in that previous video to this one, I showed you guys how to make those chicken legs, which are super delicious. This one, we're gonna go to those of you that might be tired of eating eggs for breakfast. So this is an absolutely fantastic recipe to switch up your morning routine. It's also a great recipe that is portable. So we're gonna go ahead and I'll talk a little bit more about that as I make the zucchini. So we're gonna make the Atkins muffins. I've shared this recipe, I believe, before, but I don't think I've ever made it on camera. But today we're gonna switch it up and try to make it into banana muffins. So we're gonna show you how to kind of convert this and making it seem more like a banana muffin recipe instead of just a zucchini recipe. Shred 1 zucchini. So because I haven't actually made this recipe exactly the way I'm going to make it today, I am only going to make 6 muffins, which is what this recipe originally calls for. Now, the original recipe has a few sketchy things in it that are definitely not paleo, and quite possibly not a part of maybe a more keto strict diet, and it even calls for canola oil, which is super disgusting. But this recipe was probably created in the 90s. However, I'll show you those substitutions as we go along. But as you guys know, if it's not my original recipe, I always like to show you who created the original recipe, because I want to give them credit for putting in the hard work. So here we had just 1 small zucchini, and where I am, zucchini is still on sale and really super cheap because it's still in season. And I'm putting this in a nut bag. I will link that below. I love nut bags. I've never used them for nuts as of yet. But basically you can use this to make your nut milk with. But what I do use it for pretty consistently, and you guys have probably seen me do this before if you watch my pancake recipe, is I like to put my shredded zucchini in here. I also do this when I make zucchini noodles. So kind of heads up for that. So if I make zucchini noodles for my husband to go with either spaghetti or pasta Alfredo, anything like that, anytime I make the zoodles, I always put them in this nut bag, and we're gonna squeeze all of that liquid out. And you can kind of see that was a really small zucchini that's not, you can see it's got most of the moisture, and not all of it, but a lot of the moisture. I'm going to put all of my wet ingredients in one bowl. So the zucchini, to me, I consider that a wet ingredient. So we're going to just throw that in there. And it's going to call for 2 eggs. But how we're going to make this into a banana muffin is because, I think I've talked about before, zucchini has a very similar texture when cooked to bananas. So something to kind of think about. And then we're going to add our extract. So the recipe calls for vanilla extract. I'm going to use almond extract, which is going to give this more of a banana nut type flavor. And I like the texture or the flavor of nuts in my food without, like, even before keto and I use actual flour, I still would use almond extract. I just liked the flavor without all the little pieces that would get in your teeth, and nuts tend to dry out products or baked goods. But in addition to the almond extract, we're also going to use banana extract. So this is going to be a great September fall recipe. That's pretty potent. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to do a ½ teaspoon this time. Because like I said, this is the first time I'm making this, so I have not like made this a million times and perfected it at this point. And then we're gonna add our 2 tablespoons of oil. So to measure that, I'm gonna use the scale just because I think it's so much easier. And 2 tablespoons is going to be 28 grams, and I'm gonna use coconut oil because, you know, why would we not use coconut oil when we are trying to get some healthy fats in? And this is still a little melted up top, so I was able to just pour it in. There we go. So coconut oil instead of the canola oil. So there's the second substitution. So the first wasn't really a substitution. I mean, it kind of was. Using the almond extract and the banana extract, and oh my gosh, it does smell. It even kind of looks like bananas. Alrighty. So now that we've got that mixed, we'll start on our dry ingredients. We're going to do 1 cup of flaxseed powder. So ground flaxseed. And how I do that is I have just regular whole flax seeds. And this is in a container that I bought. But I actually, last time I bought this, I got a really good deal on the Bob's Red Mill. And I just opened the packages and put them in this bucket. So I take these ground flax seeds, or these whole flax seeds, sorry, and I put them in about 1/4 cup at a time, this handy coffee grinder. And that is how I make the ground flax meal. And that enables me to buy just regular flax meal and have it on hand. So we're going to do 1 cup. So I've got my 1/4 cup scooper here, which we're going to later use for the muffins. I'm just trying to reduce dishes, you know. So this is 1/4 cup. All right, and you can tell I'm just a super exact measurer too, just super exact. Alrighty, and then we've got our 1 ounce of protein powder. The recipe calls for vanilla protein powder. I just use regular protein powder. And it calls for 1 ounce, and it looks like I need to probably buy some more. So I'm going to change my scale to 1 ounce measurement. Usually it's 1 full scoop. I think we have a couple windows open, so in case you're wondering. Well, it looks like it's going to take all of that, yep. Then we are going to start adding our sweetener. So the recipe calls for Splenda, and we aren't going to use Splenda. I have actually made this without any sweeteners, and it was pretty darn good. But we are going to add a little bit of the monk fruit here. And I'm going to do probably, we're going to do one heaping teaspoon here. Okay. Here we have our baking powder, the giant container of this. And this is 3/4 of a teaspoon. So, shouldn't be too hard to do here. 3/4 of a teaspoon. Lost my top. Alright. And then it calls for 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. There we go. That should be good. 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice, which is a very small amount because it's a very strong, potent spice. And finally, oh, not finally, 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, which is another pretty strong spice. Super yummy though. You could put a little splash of nutmeg in your coffee in the fall, and it makes it really good. Do it with that pumpkin spice extract, and you have got yourself a fall flavored coffee. And then we're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. There we go. Alright, and then we're going to just mix that all up with our little fork. and make sure you get any of the clumps from the protein powder out. That's why we mix our dry ingredients separate from our wet ingredients. You could actually go ahead and sift it if you want to really make sure that you don't have any little clumpies, but you definitely don't want to bite into a muffin and have it have a clump of protein powder. That would be absolutely disgusting. So, and like I said, the recipe calls for vanilla protein powder. I just keep the plain protein powder on hand. I feel like you can add whatever flavors we talked about. Similar to the nut milks, as we've discussed before, I typically just buy the plain and add my own extracts or own flavors later. That way I don't have to have more stuff on hand. So once we've got that all mixed up really well, then we will add it to our wet ingredients and mix it. Now with muffins, even though it doesn't actually have flour, you still want to be careful that you're not over mixing because of the baking powder that you're using. It can dry it out and cause it to not rise at all, which it's not going to rise a whole lot anyway, being a grain-free muffin. But you definitely don't want to over mix. You just want to mix just enough. So it should look basically like that. Okay? And you could lick it a little bit if you're not sure about the sweetness. If you wanted to, or you like to use Swerve or the Zuchinini products that are 1-for-1 for sugar, you could substitute that straight across, which is in the recipe. So the recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup of Splenda. As you saw, I used much less sweetener because monk fruit is a lot stronger than straight across Splenda. But if you use Swerve, or you can even use erythritol and see how it turns out, and just do that full 1/3 of a cup. So we have our muffin tin here lined with some foils and paper muffin cups. I like the aluminum foil the best just because it tends to release the easiest from the muffin. But if you really were concerned about it, you could definitely use some coconut oil spray and spray the paper muffins, and that will come off really super well. Just kind of a helpful little hint there. And this is gonna make exactly 6 regular size muffins. They'll actually be probably a little bit smaller than regular size muffins because, again, these are not going to raise up. So we are going to bake these in the oven. And you can see that. So that's what they look like. I like using the scoop, but as I said, this is 1/4 of a cup. So if you're not sure how much is supposed to go in a muffin, it's 1/4 of a cup. All right, we're going to throw these in a 350-degree oven for probably about 16 minutes, and then I'll show you the result. All right, we're back, and the muffins are done, and we have my beautiful daughter who's going to be our guinea pig today and taste our banana muffins. Ooh la la. It's like literally just took it out of the oven, so it's freaking super hot. Perfect. So take a small bite or your mouth will
steam
fall off.
Wow.
That's my hopeful safety tip.
My hands are in pain. Hopefully that's
you could put it down.
Foreshadowing.
Alright, I do like the tinfoil ones better though. You can see how much easier that came out.
You gave me a paper one.
I know,
ma'am.
I know I gave you a paper one. That's where I was showing the difference. Yeah? See? So good. How's the banana flavor?
You can definitely taste more of the zucchini.
You can. So we only do...
But I enjoy that.
Do you? So the texture? How is it?
Really good.
Yeah? Is it a nice...
It's not...
Does it remind you of a banana muffin type texture, or does it...
For sure. It's not too dry. It still has that moistness that you like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fall apart while you're eating it.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Excellent. So maybe next time we'll do the full teaspoon of banana just to up that banana taste. Also, as you guys saw me when I shredded it, I shredded the whole zucchini, peel on and everything. Helpful hint, if you are trying to sneak this into food for your children, you definitely want to peel the zucchini first. So you will lose a little bit of fiber, a little bit of the nutrients, but you can probably trick them a little bit more into thinking it's banana. Be like, no, I shredded the banana. There, Johnny. That's what it is. All right.
A little smarter than that.
Sometimes. All right, guys. Have a great day.